I joined Reed Smith in January 2007 with the responsibility of rolling out the CRM system globally for the firm. Prior to that, it was doing the search and selection, so search, selection, implementation of the CRM system. Before joining Reed Smith, I've worked at a number of other law firms with their CRM systems, Freshfields, Brookhouse, Derringer, Cadwallader, Wickersham and Taft, Herbert Smith and Lovells. At none of those firms had I ever implemented a system. I'd worked with systems that had been in place for most times around about the 5-year mark. They were systems that weren't being used, not being utilised, bad data within them. So trying to turn that around, change people's perceptions and then increase the usage. So whilst I'd never done an implementation myself before, I'd learnt a lot from how not to do an implementation because I'd seen the results of those implementations 5 years down the line. So pulling all of that knowledge together, that's why I chose to do the Reed Smith CRM implementation quite differently to how historically other firms have implemented their systems. So the firm was in need of a centralised CRM system. Just prior to my joining the firm in 2007, Reed Smith had gone through a number of mergers with other firms, which had significantly increased the number of attorneys and then globally in different regions. So the US, Europe, the Middle East and Asia. Obviously the time zones that are incorporated with those different regions are, it's an entire business day from, say, our Pittsburgh office to our Hong Kong office. So there was really a need to have a centralised system for client information, not just contacts and who knows those contacts, but the real business intelligence that a CRM system should be providing. When was the last touch point with that particular client? What was the meeting? What was discussed? What were the outcomes? What have the takeaways been? What clients are we pitching to? What work are we pitching for? And then really to be able to give that repository of information and intelligence to the attorneys themselves, so it's at their fingertips. They're not having to rely on someone else to go and find that information for them. So CRM stands for Client Relationship Management. It's about managing relationships effectively with clients, delivering a better service to clients, a more seamless service. As I said, the contacts database element I see as almost a byproduct of what you are achieving with the client relationship management side. And a lot of firms focus purely on the contacts piece. So it's add your contacts, the link back to the attorney is identified, so we have that relationship information and it stops there. So you just have a big database of contacts and who knows them, but there's nothing else any deeper than that. So our focus is on relationships. So you know this person, how well do you know them, why do you know them? And then it's looking at that individual contact, what's their role within their organisation? Can they make decisions on giving us work? Can they refer us for other work? Are they a key contact for us? And then really identifying that and using it to build revenue. That's the whole point of it all. For the search and selection for which vendor and which system we would use, I myself come from a marketing background. I'm not an IT person, and having worked sort of in a business development role in other firms before, I approach this in the same way that our clients approach looking for their legal service provider. So we did a formal RFP process. We did sort of almost like a real panel pitch with the sort of presentations that we asked people to do. So I started off, I researched all the CRM vendors that were available within the legal space. We narrowed that down to Pivotal, Microsoft and Interaction. And then that was who we sent out the RFP to. And again, it was a formal RFP, very specific questions that we wanted answers for. And we gave them a month to respond, and during that month they had as much of my time as they needed to clarify any of the information that we were asking for. And this was really where Microsoft and their legal ISV client profiles really stepped up to the plate. because right from that stage, they developed a project team, which we were part of. And from that point forward, it was sort of a three-pronged project team that were working on this. My focus wasn't so much on the software itself. We knew it would do what we were asking it to do in terms of contact collection, recording information about companies. You can add activities to it. It's almost like a given that it's going to do that part of what we want. So my focus was around functionality, was that it integrated with Outlook, because that's what the vast majority of attorneys spend the vast majority of their working day sitting within. It's their desktop. So to have a CRM system that to all intents and purposes feels like an extension of Outlook will be adopted much easier by those attorneys. Ongoing sort of development of the product itself was very important. I didn't just want to purchase a piece of software that nothing's going to happen to it in the next 5 years, that there will be ongoing development and additional functionality released by the vendor for it. But one of the things that was more important to me than the whole software side of things was the vendor themselves. And we wanted to see them demonstrate their own capabilities of client relationship management. Not that they had to use the system that they were selling us, but that they used some kind of system and they understood the fundamental basics of what we were trying to achieve. Because I don't feel that, they might be able to sell the software to do the job, but we wanted them to be doing more than that. We were looking for a vendor that was going to partner with us. And this is, CRM system implementation is a long-term project. It's not something where you can say, we'll test out this system for 2 to 3 years and see how we get on. Whichever one that you choose, you have for at least 10 years, if not longer.